Module 3 of Aligning Strategy to Deliver Performance, Delivering the Results We Want. Module 3 of Aligning Strategy to Deliver Performance is about delivering results. In Module 1 we looked at the co-creation of the strategy for the organization or function. And very specifically we looked at the 5 bold steps, or the key strategic imperatives that the team need to be very attentive to in order to succeed. Module 2 was all about engagement, about developing the team. We looked at the team setup. We looked at the impact of communication among the team. We looked at the performance of the team, and we also explored the impact that the leader has on the team. In this particular module, we want to now start looking at building influencing skills in order to successfully execute the action plans. We want to develop decision-making and conflict management tools and frameworks and mindsets. Without doubt, there will be decisions that will need to be made along the way. We may not have all the information to make the decisions we want to make. We will undoubtedly encounter conflict as we begin to influence and as we begin to drive our agenda. Some of the key objectives is to develop a dashboard. If we can measure the team's performance, well, that will allow us to course correct as needed. We want to start identifying stakeholders and, most importantly, identify the influencing strategy that we will need to take to influence and to work with those stakeholders. We want to have a robust decision-making and conflict management process. So when these topics arise, we have a common language, we have a common behavioral approach in the way in which we deal with conflict and make decisions. Some of the outcomes that the team again is fully aligned and successfully executing against action plans. You hear the word alignment again. This program is all about that alignment, that closely tied alignment that ensures the team is set up for success. We have a strong decision-making and conflict management toolkit. And also that the team has the competence and the confidence to deliver on its objectives. When there is clarity of roles, when the processes are in place, when the team is strong in terms of their interpersonal relationships, and the team is strongly aligned to a co-created strategy, we know that teams will deliver and perform better. Some of the outputs that we expect is the team influencing strategy. We have a stakeholder mapping, a mapping of all the stakeholders whom we need to influence and who have an influence in our success as well. We have a robust decision-making framework. We have a conflict management toolkit. And again, we're looking at the adapting communications profiles that we began to look at the start of Module 1. I'd like to share with you an instrument that we use during Module 3 when we look at conflict. The Thomas Kilmann Conflict Mode Instrument, or the TKI as it's called, assesses an individual's behavior in conflict situations. A person's behavior can be described along 2 basic dimensions, and those dimensions are assertiveness and cooperativeness. Assertiveness is the extent to which an individual attempts to satisfy his or her own concerns, whereas cooperativeness is the extent to which an individual attempts to satisfy the other person's concerns. Now, these 2 dimensions of behavior can be used to define 5 methods of dealing with conflict. And those 5 methods are competing. Competing is assertive and uncooperative. It's a power-orientated mode. Competing might mean standing up for your rights, for example, defending a position you believe is correct, or simply trying to win. Collaboration is both assertive and cooperative. Collaborating between 2 people might take the form of exploring a disagreement to learn from each other's insights, resolving some conflict or some condition that would otherwise have them competing for resources, or confronting and trying to find a creative solution to an interpersonal problem. Compromising is intermediate in both assertiveness and cooperativeness. Compromise might mean splitting the difference, exchanging concessions, or seeking a quick middle ground position. Avoiding is unassertive and uncooperative. Avoiding might take the form of diplomatically sidestepping an issue, postponing an issue until a better time, or simply withdrawing from a threatening situation completely. And finally, accommodating. Accommodating is unassertive and cooperative. In fact, it's the opposite to competing. Accommodating might take the form of selfless generosity or charity, obeying another person's order when you'd prefer not to, or yielding to another person's point of view. So how does it work in reality? On the right hand side you can see a sample report from an individual who completed the Thomas Kilmann conflict mode instrument. We can see very simply that this individual's favorite mode of handling conflict is both collaborating and competing. The other modes are evident: accommodating, avoiding and compromising, but we can see because of the low scores that they will very seldom rely on these modes to handle conflict. It doesn't mean they won't use them. In fact, we all use a lot of the modes a lot of the time, but we will have a style we will default to, and in this case it's collaborating and competing. So that's just a quick example of the instrument that we use for the conflict management piece of Module 3. Thank you for listening and for taking the interest to review Module 3 of our Aligning Strategy to Deliver Performance program, Delivering Results.